Daily News on Sway in the Morning.
Hey, this is a special edition of the Daily News, man. As I mentioned before, you know him as the once co-host of The Psycho on MSNBC. One of my favorite shows was the Hip Hop Shop on Fuse. He did excellent work over there. Started off as an intern with Rolling Stone. He's been on MTV, MTV2. He's been on CNN as a pop culture contributor. He's a award-winning, acclaimed author. He's a great pillar in the hip-hop community. He's an excellent dad. You could catch him down at Union Square all the time being ran around.
Hanging with his kids.
Hanging out with his kids, chasing them in different directions.
I'm a witness.
Yeah, I am too. I always see him out with the kids, you know. And he's here today celebrating his new show, the Touré Show. You can find it on iTunes right now. It's a podcast, and as podcasts go, this is one of the best ones I've heard thus far, man. Give it up for our good friend Touré. He's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Sway. Thank you.
How you been,
Thank
man?
you very much. I'm good. Kids are like 10 and 8 now, so there's not that much chasing anymore. It's a little more walking.
They're 10 and 8?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Damn, you have a beautiful family. Heather told me your kid didn't want to leave my office. Like, he didn't want to go home.
He sat down.
He's very willful.
Right? I want to talk about the podcast, but I want to get your take on a few things. As you know, Matt Lauer was recently fired for allegations of sexual harassment after how many years? 20-plus years?
Hot minute.
And a hot mess. He's actually, yesterday he released a statement, an apology to those that he's offended, hurt, and promised to work on himself and make himself a better person. Also, Matt Lauer's ex-wife, Nancy, defended the fired Today host a day after he was fired for sexual assault. Here's what she told Entertainment Tonight yesterday, Touré.
I've given him my support 100%. I was shocked because he's been such a stalwart at that network and in that job. He's been the best person that ever held that job. And I couldn't imagine anything that he would have done that would have been so out of character for him that would have caused that reaction. I never saw him as a power monger or somebody who would abuse his position in any way. That's why it's so shocking, I think, to the people that really know him.
Not everybody.
Ain't that the truth?
Sounds like she did not know her ex-husband very well.
Yeah, no. Well, or maybe he changed after he divorced her. Who's to say?
I also noticed that she's out defending him. His wife is silent.
She's not saying a thing.
She's not out defending him, and I don't know how long she'll be around. But, I mean, no, this is not a shock to a lot of people who were in the general orbit, so that she's like, oh, my God, I'm shocked. Girl, you late.
You shaking your head, Heather?
The front page of the paper says NBC News with a K, implying that.
Oh, they knew.
Yeah, this is.
I mean,
like I said the other day, it's been a foul. I believe it's been built up.
I mean,
on
but
him.
this is what this part of what this reckoning is about. Media saying, we have open secrets? Hell no. We know everybody's whispering about Harvey Weinstein does da-da-da-da. Go run that down. Find some people and print that shit, right? You know, we can curse a little bit, right?
You just did. That's okay, man. But your kids are listening. No, go ahead.
You know, I mean, you know, everybody's whispering about Matt Lauer. Go run that down. You know, Kevin Spacey, go run that. You know, so I mean, it's not
Russell
just
Simmons.
Yeah, man. You know
that one hurt you.
You know, it was. I mean, you know, I'm friends with Russell. You're friends with Russell.
That's my mentor.
He was at my wedding. Like that's, you know, I mean. Again, can't say I'm shocked, although I didn't know that he had gone that far. I mean, you know, the Jenny Lumet letter and the first one, I mean, they're alleging straight up rape.
Yeah.
Unwanted penetration. You can't be like, yo, that's my man. No, like, yo.
No.
And I'm trying to figure out, how do I rectify the positive things that I know about him, the change that he's had, because he used to be a wild man.
Yeah.
You know.
And he got spiritually grounded.
Yeah. And now he's a totally different person.
Yeah.
But how do I rectify, you know, 20 years of positive experiences and knowing who he is with this news? Like, how are you? I don't
How have
know.
you dealt with it? Like, you're going to see Russell eventually.
I'm going to see him. I mean, I spoke to him a couple days ago.
What did he say?
On the phone. I mean, you know, he he's going through it. He's trying to deal with it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
And it was a different story at that point. He wasn't even talking about leaving.
Russell probably doesn't remember.
He does- he was
I
caught
actually believe him because he was so forthright here saying, I was on drugs. I sniffed the 80s away. I was getting high. I was doing, because he keeps saying, well, my account of it is different, but I'm sorry. Like, he seems like he has
Lauer said the same thing.
Well,
all the
Matt
men say
Lauer-
the same thing.
Russell said he was on coke though before. Matt ain't never say that. Matt trying to still get $25 million from NBC, but they have some sort of morality clause which may fight him for. He's trying to get paid out.
He's trying to get paid out.
It's just a shame because you can't use drugs to rationalize your actions.
That's Tracy
Not
G.
doing that at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes it. I can understand more, but that doesn't make you invincible from consequences.
No,
Right.
no, not
Right,
at
and
all.
she's not saying that.
No, I'm not saying that.
But
at
you're
all.
right. You're right. You're right. It's not like you're going to get on drugs or alcohol and do something that you would absolutely never do. It's still within your realm. You just are enhanced in a certain direction.
Right.
So it's not just the drugs. I mean, we know Ratner too.
Yeah,
He was
Ratner.
a wild boy.
Yeah, I don't know him.
You don't know him? Okay.
I met him in passing once. I know who he is.
I mean, I have spent time around. He's a wild boy.
When you say he's a wild boy, give the listener
Example.
insight of what's wild. Or were they having orgies? Out in public? Were they
Not in public.
But it was wild, like swapping women, men.
Well, I don't know about men. I know I've never heard of that. And some
Okay.
people, hey, it was Russell Gay. Like, no, it was super straight. But I mean, some people in that group thought of themselves as like the new Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
And when you think of yourself that way, you're trying to prove it to yourself and everybody around you. And, who knows what's going to happen, what you're going to have to do to live up to that.
Yeah. Touré is here. DB, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because you were talking about rationalizing, when you know somebody personally and then they're being accused of something as extreme as rape versus all the positive things that they've done. And we talked about this before. Heather always brings up, like, let's say in the music business with R. Kelly, we still play his music, we still love his songs and things like that. But if you don't have a personal attachment to the guy, you still kind of overlook whatever he was accused of in the past, and you're still willing to step in the name of love and all that stuff.
Yeah, Roxanne Gay, a great writer, talks about that a little bit, how she's angry with him, she hates him, da-da-da-da. But there's something about a great rhythm.
Undeniable.
a great beat, and us making music, Heather, that it gets in deeper beyond the conscious mind.
Yes.
I mean, I was there face to face with R. Kelly, watched him talk about how old we talking about, and still, when that toot toot comes on, I can't front. That's the one joint that he gets me on.
The toot.
Ignition.
And some of that is how rhythm and melody affects us, right?
Yeah.
Beyond on a conscious level.
Spiritual.
Spirit.
But there's a friendship, there's a respect, and you have to deal with I can't just be like, yeah, it's all good, dude.
Yeah.
Not that I need to be in his face telling him, yo, you need to do this and need to think about this, but
You can't pretend like
it
doesn't bother you.
You can't just
Yeah.
go back to just boys as usual. We have to address in some way. We have to deal with this in some way. And I'm not even sure what that is.
Yeah.
When I see him, when we talk, I don't know what that is, And I don't know that I'm so close in his life that I need to be saying something, but I mean, this thing is into all of our personal lives in a lot of ways, and I'm struggling with how do I rectify? There was one, there was that list, right, of crappy media men, right, that was going around.
I've never heard of that list.
That didn't
Crappy media men?
Sway ain't on it, right?
I'm like, was I on that?
You kidding, right?
No, I'm joking. No, I never heard of that list.
You serious?
I'm dead ass.
Yeah,
Okay, so there was in the early days of this thing, like being this hot, like a month or two ago, there was an Excel spreadsheet that a group of women put together of men in media, mostly print media, who were wild, who were, had from groping somebody at a party to raping somebody in the office to creepy DMs to, bad
Wait, that's you
weirdo
highlighted in red?
lunches.
Who's there
There
from
you go.
Vibe?
There you go.
Okay.
It was like, women in this office know, watch out for so and so.
Wow.
And some of them people I knew. I know.
This doesn't say names on it, Wonder. Does it say names?
Nah, because the dude that purchased it is putting it out a little bit at a time.
You can.
But they named the company.
You can download that
Yeah.
with the names on it.
Okay.
I mean, it's crazy.
All right, Touré is here, man. Always like getting your take on things. Let's pivot for a second because there was a report that came out that reportedly that the White House, a number of White House workers have said that it's overrun with cockroaches and mice, and they have to set out mouse traps and roach traps in the White House at this time. Just the overall broad stroke. What is your assessment of what's going on in the White House?
I mean, I don't believe that literally.
Yeah.
But figuratively speaking, absolutely. It's a dumpster fire. This is a complete crazy show. And now he's talking about maybe Obama's not from America again. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, he's back on that. I wasn't on the Access Hollywood tape. That didn't happen. So he's really losing his mind, telling people that he believes the lie. I don't think they're gonna get this tax reform, but it is very close.
It's gotten closer than I think most people thought it would have.
I mean, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
When folks like Murkowski and Collins are like, I'll support it. It's very scary because I think this would have a really negative impact on America, and it's a strange time, Sway.
What concerns you most about this administration? And then on the flip side, what do you think they've done best?
I'm gonna need some time with the first one. With the second one, what concerns me partly is that we're gonna spend years digging out from the things, the damage that they've done internationally, within this country. The continued breakdown of the relationship between media and a lot of Americans, not most Americans, but I think a lot of Americans. I mean, if you can't trust the media at any level, if you're like, anything that comes from the Washington Post, I cannot believe. Well, then where are you? Then you're anti-science, you're anti-fact, you're anti-media, you're anti-expert. Where are you getting your information from?
Sure.
How are you making decisions about things?
Emotions.
And we have a large portion of the country that is making their decisions largely based on emotion and anti-fact. And that's we wouldn't have Trump at all if we didn't have a large portion of the country getting their quote-unquote information from sources that are not actually delivering information. I mean, Fox is not real information. It is entertainment, right? Pretending to be news.
As opposed to where do you find
to MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS.
So the half the country believe that, and the half the country believe it's the other way around.
Well, I mean, so the Fox News and right-wing media echo chamber needs you to believe that the other side is not credible, right? Fox and them, right? And Fox, Rush Limbaugh, Mark Levin, etc., Sean Hannity, they spend time telling you can't believe the other side. Objective media does not spend time bashing other media because that's not necessary. That's not part of their business plan. You know what I mean? They are delivering the news. But I mean, I've been inside MSNBC. There's nothing that they are reporting that is knowingly false.
Okay.
At Fox, I'm sure that they know what they are saying is not real, especially Tucker Carlson,
That's your
Sean
favorite.
Hannity.
Those are your favorites. I see it on your Twitter feed.
Come on now.
What half the administration you think done well?
I mean, they're making whiteness great again. I mean, I'm struggling to think of
Heather
something.
almost spit out her water.
I mean, if you're a white person who has felt like, we're losing control of the country, I mean, look, part of what they're doing is what you might call.
You white.
I love the white guy to
That's how you
speak.
feel.
Stand up for your
feel
people.
great.
That's how you
I
feel.
love it. I love
Yes,
it. Yeah, because
yes.
if I had called Obama a cockroach in 8 years ago or said something like that in the White House, people be saying some crazy stuff. Speak. It's like you're gonna believe what you want to believe at this point, and you're gonna have your own narrative. If you think Fox News is not reporting facts, you think CNN, who colluded with Hillary Clinton to give her questions during the debates, and so they're definitely on the straight and narrow.
It wasn't CNN. That
Brazil.
was supposed to have done that.
Donna Brazil,
Yeah,
the
she
contributor.
got them from somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so,
it was supposedly the DNC, not CNN. But
well, either
we're
either
conflating
way-
conspiracy
either way,
theories now.
You're gonna believe what you want, and you're gonna see some wild stuff about what you want. So you know what I'm saying? I just know that people are losing their mind, and it's like the mainstream media, quote unquote, is. I'm hearing the things like that people would say about Obama during his time in closed doors, but now it's mainstream to talk crazy about the president. The way people talked in
Where you think that tone got really launched off, though? Where did that
tone?
that's
When people, they everybody thought it was a joke that this dude was gonna win.
yeah.
When it actually became serious, they started clutching their pearls and wilding out.
Clutching their pearls.
Yeah, exactly.
Clutching their pearls.
They didn't believe it was gonna happen.
But when you say clutching their pearls, that suggests that they were wrong to be concerned.
Okay, yeah, and people were wrong to be concerned in one aspect. Other people who are for it, why can't they? What's the problem? I don't understand.
What's the problem with somebody who's incompetent?
Your
has
opinion?
no. That's not my
Yeah, it
opinion.
is
That's
your
clearly
opinion.
Is he a Trump supporter for real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't listen every day.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I didn't know. I mean, I thought he was
Put that in the
tiptoeing
email.
toward it. The incompetence is clearly
Yes.
demonstrated. The lack of knowledge of just basic government or any policy is clearly demonstrated on a daily basis. I mean, left or right, whatever you think. Do you think it makes sense to have somebody running the country who has no idea about any policy at all, can't talk about any policy?
Obama was a city planner, a community organizer.
Okay, Obama did that as one of his many jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a senator, right? He was also a constitutional law professor.
I think
so he understood government and the law extremely well enough to teach it at the highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trump can't discuss anything, and I'm not even talking at a partisan level right now. Just, is there any issue, any serious policy issue that he could stand on the stage and discuss for 5 minutes with an expert?
I can see how someone who does not like this person or his policies would look at it and be like, this guy, some of the stuff he says, I think is crazy. I think it's funny as hell. And I think the greatest thing to come out of this election is disruption, and that we're going to see candidates that we never would have seen before.
Yeah.
And I love it that you have to distrust the media. It makes everybody go out and find their own forms of media.
Is that what people are doing?
Yep. All the time. That's why.
What do you mean, like Alex Jones? What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? their
Infowars,
own-
all that stuff. Yeah, great. Go on YouTube. Find out what the
But
real
that's
deal
not
is.
true.
How do you
That's
know?
not the real
How do you
deal.
know?
That's not honest.
We've been a lot of things.
I
Have
mean,
been
you know,
suppressed.
but you know that when you're like, how do you know Alex Jones is not real? Is when the conversation is over and you no longer have even the right to speak because you sound crazy.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's
It is
change
what
the
it is.
conversation anyway.
I mean, what the hell are you talking about?
But it was a great conversation, and these are the conversations we have to have. To understand?
Are they?
Yeah, why not? Let's find out how everybody's thinking.
Yeah, put
You know.
yourself in the other person's shoes, I
Okay,
suppose.
Touré is here. This is lovely. This is why I love him. We have yet to talk about his podcast.
Right, wow.
And this week's featured guest is none other than Diddy, and you got to talk to him about things we don't often hear him speak about. I want to come back and talk about that and take your phone calls, 888-742-3345.
Morning.
Yeah, so we got special guest. Touré is here of the Touré Show. You can find it on iTunes. A lot of great people in the past that you've lined up to interview for the show. Just throw out a litany of names.
We've already had Maxwell and the RZA on the show, Nikki Giovanni. Upcoming, we're going to have poker professional David Williams, incredible. Reggie Hudlin, Hollywood director. Kahende Wiley. DeRay McKesson, Patrice Cullors, Black Thought. Yo, he did an incredible one that we're going to run in January with Prince's first fiance. Right?
Oh, wow.
Before Maite, he got engaged, and they did not get married. And there's a lot of, and she was dating him on the rise, like through the Purple Rain era and all that. The stories are incredible, and it just makes you feel like you know him hearing from his girlfriend, fiance, and that one's gonna blow a lot of people's minds.
And this is available now.
And Titus Burgess.
Oh wow. Okay.
Joy Reid, Cornel West, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yo, I did one because the point of the show is to talk about success. How'd you become successful? What is your talent that you're crushing? And I did one with my sister, right? Because she's the chief.
Your sister?
My sister is the chief medical officer of the Hoboken University Medical Center.
Wow.
She runs the freaking hospital.
Man, congratulations,
My
man.
sister got to speak to her.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, even if I didn't know you, it wasn't related to you, I would want to interview you for this.
Yeah.
She was in the ER room for years. So, I'm digging in like, how do you do your thing? And like being in the ER, the emergency room, it's like being an athlete in terms of how you have to, control your mind and your body in the midst of chaos. But that really matters. It doesn't really matter if the Knicks or the Patriots win or lose. It really matters.
Yeah.
True.
If she wins or loses. And she breaks down her whole thing. It's really interesting.
It's so good to know that, Touré. I had no idea, but one of the best OBGYNs in the world is Dr. George McQuilkin, who's located in Hoboken. He actually does all his work at Hoboken Hospital. I've been there several times. That place is a well-oiled machine. I had no idea, blown away. Salute to your sister. Seriously, that is the place that I go to.
Good,
All right.
thank you.
Wow, salute.
You got a lot of people on the line. Before we go into
Nice.
these Diddy clips, we got Rich from Georgia on the line. What's up, Rich?
Richie.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I really appreciate you talking to me. I listen to you all the time, but real quick, I'm not a Trump supporter, like, at all. I can't believe what's really happening. Like, China's laughing at us, everybody's laughing at us. But I 100% agree with what Wonder just said, and I just want to break it down. We elect people, and then we expect them to run our lives, and then what gets done in the dark comes to the light way after they're out of office, and it doesn't really matter anymore, and we just keep repeating the cycle. And now we have somebody who, like you said, is truly incompetent, clearly has no idea what he does, and there's no other occupation you can have and be this bad at it and not get fired. Well, we're going to watch 4, maybe 8 years of this happen, and hopefully this teaches us a lesson to pay attention to all our elected officials, from, your city planner all the way up to your president at all times, so that you don't end up with people like this in office.
Thank you for your call, Rich. All right. Hey, by the way, if you guys want to reach Touré, you have any comments, reach him on social media. Hit him up right now at
Twitter, at Touré, Toure, on Instagram, at Touré Show.
Oh, that's it, huh? Okay, all right. P. Diddy, too, is, even though we're the same age and we've come up at the same time, I consider him a mentor, an inspiration. He's been extremely successful. His story, we don't even know his full story. I know that. Well, we haven't heard his full story. You had a chance to sit down and talk to him. And one of the things you guys talked about was the voices that are in his head. And I thought that to be very interesting, and I thought you were very present to ask him the question that you asked him.
You alluded a little bit there to the voice inside you, and I'm curious if we could hear the voice inside you. Is the voice yelling at you like you can do it and positive, or is it like you ain't shit, you ain't done enough, and pushing you to go further higher? Like what is the voice saying to you?
You the baddest motherfucker that he ever built. You a king. Put it on him, king. Get him, Puff. Get him. Fuck him up. Yeah. Win for the people. It's for the kids. Let's do it. Black excellence. Let's go.
And that's true to form to who he is. Yeah. Every single day.
I'm interested in people's self-talk. And when you get into certain moments, what are you telling yourself? And I think one thing that we'll see, a commonality out of successful people, is that they are talking to themselves internally in a very positive way.
Yeah.
And I think some folks who may not have reached their potential yet may have more negative self-talk. And I'm not absolute. There might be a lot of people with positive self-talk who still haven't gotten out of their first base yet. But I mean, like, I think that a lot of us can learn to really harness that internal voice in a positive way.
Yeah.
And not just accept whatever comes out. Like, your mind controls you. You can control your mind and demand positive messages from you. I mean, there was a time in my life.
I was going to ask you, when did you learn this?
Yeah, I was when I was a teenager, right? Because I was big into tournament tennis, and you had to be focused and positive all the time. And I sort of trained myself to not allow myself to say negative things to myself, and just I was always very optimistic. I always felt like, if I have any hand in the outcome, then I'm going to be able to make it work. I'm going to be able to find a way to make it work. But I used to do this thing where if I said something negative to myself, I would pinch myself on the back of the neck, like really hard, and just sort of drowning out the negative messages. And now I'm internally, I'm extremely positive. I always think I can make it work. I'll be the guy, we're hanging off the cliff and the car's about to, I'm going to figure out a way out of this.
You're going to figure that way out.
We're going to find a way. Honey, don't worry.
You never have any doubt nowadays at this stage in your life?
I gotta feel like, if I have a hand in the outcome, find a way to make it work.
Right.
Okay.
And if this don't work, we're gonna make it on the, if the car crashes over the cliff, then when it lands, we're gonna find a way out of that.
One of the things, and then I appreciate it about this, Touré is here, by the way. Follow him on social media. I keep saying that because I want you to continue the conversation with him after he leaves our show. And tune into his podcast every single week. It's available on iTunes. It's called
Touré Show.
There it is. My grandfather taught me about the art of negotiation early on. He used to toy with me a lot. We used to bet a lot on football games, and when I would lose, he would never let me pay him off, but he would leverage my debt and have me do certain tasks and different things. So each time we bet, the negotiation became different. Sometimes he would refuse to negotiate with me. And I said, well, why do you do that? He said, for the same reason, for leverage. So your leverage lies in your willingness to walk away from a deal. So in the 90s, I've walked away from six-figure deals in radio that was unheard of. But what came back paid me tenfold when it came into negotiations coming to MTV. I walked away from MTV before a couple of times. You worked at MTV. You know how hard it is to really tweak a contract.
Yeah.
And it's worked in my favor. So when I heard you talk about money to P. Diddy, it affirmed to me that, oh, shit, damn. Maybe I'm thinking like somebody who's great at business, arguably the most successful businessman we've seen in hip-hop. Here's what he said about money and what he said about negotiation.
You said, I wasn't allowing them to treat me like a black man. And how do you do that?
You have to be able to walk away. There's a lot of cats out here that get a taste of the money, and when it comes time to doing that deal and really being in that ruthless negotiation, they really can't stomach walking away. I'm really, really crazy. I will walk away. We could be at 43 million. If I want 45 and I'm just deserving of that, and that is the rate, you're going to give me 45 million. And I want to explain to you why. Because I set the market value for my people.
I set the market value for my people. How ill is
he
that?
Sees
That's
himself
boss.
as more than just out here for himself.
Yeah.
Right? He's doing, like when athletes talk about, I do it for the culture, Jay-Z, I do it for the culture, I do it for the fans. And so he's thinking about, I do this business stuff for a larger group than just me, larger than just my family, which is dope, and which gives him that sense of I got to go higher. That walking away thing is so powerful. I have not learned that at all.
I was about
gotta
to
try
say.
it.
I am not. the one.
You get addicted to it.
Yeah.
To walking away?
Yeah, no, you
Man,
do.
you
And
do.
just to chime in a little bit, just having to be able, I had to take the independent route so much with music, that you do learn to walk away. And I learned to walk away very early after selling records out of my bag and out of messenger bags. When these labels come to you and at the rate that they want to pay you for your art and your music, you like, nah.
See, but if it's low, right? Because I know the music business try to lowball us, right? Like if it's low, you can walk away.
No, but it's
he's talking about.
But that's
you
all
gave me. You offered me
low is
43. I want
relative.
45.
It's relative.
But at a music business level.
He's at
43, 45. You don't notice the difference.
No, but I'm talking about, say, to somebody that's starving, $100,000 is a lot of money. If you sleeping on your grandmother's futon, $100,000 can change your life.
Of course.
And so you can walk away from that to say, no, you should give me $500,000.
But if you get a $43 million deal, you never have to work again. If you get a $45 million deal, you never have to work again. It's not that different.
It is different because if somebody says to me, I'm going to own your publisher or not own your publisher, it may not be a big deal, but those little fine prints, that extra $2 million, that extra $3 million, it comes down to the back end. He's in position to argue over $3 million. Most people don't get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying low is relative. We learned early to walk away, just doing the independent route.
Yeah,
you learned early.
I'm still learning.
when do you think? Because I don't know if prior to his success at this level, like he's reached levels we haven't seen from anyone. If that was his same drive to, I'm doing it for the people, I'm trying to set the bar for those who come behind me. When do you think that mentality kicked in for him?
I'm not sure. He and I didn't talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, I just remember. I remember being like, this A&R guy back. What was it, like 93, 94?
Yeah.
This A&R guy thinks he's gonna start a label.
Yeah.
But he was so hot. He talked about this. He was so hot with Jodeci and Mary J. Blige that when he went out into the industry and said, "Yo, here's my idea for Bad Boy. Give me some money," and they were like, "Okay, here's several $1 million and go. Let's see what you can do." And he was 22, 23.
Yeah.
Managing people, managing millions, and he did it like we never seen before.
Yeah. We got Nathan on the line from Tampa. Go ahead,
Hi,
Nathan. What up, Nate?
Nate.
What's going on, guys? Good morning.
Good morning, man. Say hello to Touré, our guest.
Was good.
Touré, good morning. Good morning. I appreciate listening to all your guests on the radio because they bring some insightful information for me every day.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I do have a question because I was listening to him while you guys were going over the discussion with Puffy there, and he had mentioned that his inner voice was saying black excellence to him. And that caught me off guard, man, because, I heard another group that you guys had in there, and I don't remember their name, but they were talking about, like, Black Boy Joy, if you remember what that is.
That was
the cast.
It was the cast of the New Edition movie. Luke
James
James and all this. Yeah,
that movie was dope.
Yeah, I like that. They did well with that. So what's your question, Nathan?
And my question is what is the difference of somebody like myself, a white guy, going around telling people white boy excellence or white boy joy, and then black dudes out there in, the wide open public saying that, and they get no scrutiny for, raising their race above everybody else's. And I just want to better understand how that.
It's a great question, and I do ask him in the interview, what's the difference between black excellence and white excellence? Is there an actual difference? And I think part of what we have to understand is that white excellence or white genius is seen all the time, is celebrated all the time, and black excellence and black genius are far less celebrated within the society, and our children see fewer role models of that. So all we're trying to do is just to raise that up, right? And to bring that into the light. Look, a lot of times I think you're going to be confused if you use some sort of a switch test to say, like, all the races should act exactly the same all the time. We are talking about marginalized people who have not been in power in this country ever, right? Because of race, because of gender, because of sexuality. And if you want to take the powerful and the powerless and treat them exactly the same, that is a loss and a misunderstanding of the reality of the situation. So with you running around talking about white excellence would be reductive, right? We know that. We know white people can be excellent. We see it all the time. Puffy saying black excellence is trying to raise up something that we see less often, but is just as prevalent in the society.
Nate, thank you for your call.
I disagree with you.
That's fine too. But thank you for your call, Nate. But that was a great question, Nate.
Oh, it is
great
a
question, Nathan. You're a citizen.
A Sway in the morning, Nate.
All right. Touré, it's always a pleasure to have you on this show.
Yes.
Always great to have that man a round of applause.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And thank you, because I was on this show before asking for people who have cheated on their wives or husbands to call in.
Yeah.
Lots of people did. Thank you very much. I'm working on that book. That should be out in 2019, my book on infidelity.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not putting it out now because that would be crazy.
Yeah. Well, actually, you might want to put it out.
Right, you have an audience. There's a demo.
What is the point of the horse? I didn't even know what that meant.
It's a money counter. Up to the horse.
But thank you. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for having me on today. I wanted to talk about my podcast, and you're like, yes, your family or my brother. I've known you for 20-some years, so I appreciate it.
Every time.
Thank you very much.
Come on, man. I respect you, bro. I respect what you do, and I love to hear you speak. Touré, you guys follow him directly if you agree with him or disagree with him, or you want to see what else he's up to. Hit him up once again on social media.
At Touré, Toure.
Thank you.
What are y'all doing? Me and Sway having a conversation. It's,
but he don't know what you're saying.
I know what she's saying.
we do he got it.
We're talking about sports.
Yeah,
sports
and he's saying, don't do it now. We're going to come back.
No, we'll come back and do it.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I got him.
Sports up next?
I love it.
It's up next, Sway.
Shade 45.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.